What's up, everybody? This is Jude from Section 122 on ArgosEndzone.com. Time for Week 16 action as the Argos travel to Montreal to take on the... Week 16. They play Montreal. What do you mean they had a game Tuesday? I missed one? I missed a preview? What's up, everybody? This is Jude from Section 122 on ArgosEndzone.com, and we'll get you into Week 16 action as the Argos travel to Montreal to take on the Alouettes. As always, you can click the See More button on the YouTube channel to jump to the chapter you want to see. And as we get rolling here, let's take a look at what happened in Part 1 of Week 16 for the Argos. The Argos make their second appearance here in Week 16. We'll take a look at the first stop as they played in Ottawa on Tuesday, a game that was supposed to be in Toronto, but because of the Blue Jays' success, tip of the cap to the Blue Jays. I would never wish ill on another team. That's what Ticats fans do. But as a result of that move, the Argos had their home game moved to Ottawa to take on the Red Blacks for the second time in 12 days? 14 days? Anyways, what you saw was an amazing back-and-forth game. I believe there were 6 lead changes throughout the game. Great performances on offense and defense. Trevor Harris, was it 4 or 5 touchdowns? Was lit it up. But speaking of touchdowns, oh my goodness. Chad Owens destroyed Twitter with an amazing one-handed catch in the end zone, under a minute left, to give the Argos the lead and the eventual win. If you're not on Twitter, you should be. And when you get on Twitter, make sure you're following any of the Argos fans and Argos supporters. It was nuts. It was amazing. What a great catch. They're talking about it being one of the greatest of all time. TSN did a top 10 all-time great CFL catches. I think it came in number 2 against this week's opponent, S.J. Green of the Montreal Alouettes, who had that amazing one-hander against Saskatchewan in a season opener a couple of years ago. But Owens, just an obscene catch. It looked like it was overthrown, reached out, grabbed it. What a great game that would have been for Toronto fans to see in person. The Argos continued to push forward to try to claim first place in the East with this week's Part 2 stop happening in Montreal. The Alouettes are in last in the East, but have got a chance for the crossover game in the West, as Saskatchewan was mathematically eliminated from playoff contention this week. And you can't take Montreal lightly. Regardless of what their record is, they're a very hot, cold, streaky team game to game, week to week. And when you've got a veteran presence like S.J. Green, Fred Stamps, and Nick Lewis at your receiving core, you are never out of a game. Question marks at quarterback, but Stephen Logan is doing some amazing things in the return game, giving them great field position. It's a team you don't want to take lightly. And again, any defense that has got Chip Cox is one you don't want to look past. So the Argos have got to make sure they're aware of where Cox is on the field at all times. And they've got to have some fantastic coverage on those veteran receivers who can make guys miss and find open spots downfield. It's going to be a bigger challenge than Mira's. And of course, this is their second game this week. They played Tuesday. And so, 6, 7, 8. Now, I guess it's not that big a deal as it's closer to a full week based on when that one happened. But again, there's still some nagging injuries. There were some guys that went down this week. Oak Lugo, I believe it was a shoulder. He did not look comfortable coming off the field at one point. Veteran offensive lineman Chris Van Zyl, I think it was a calf issue. So the Argos are getting banged up again. So they've got to try to pull together and get this thing done. But I would say that's the key then, is to try to stop that Montreal passing game. And then just, again, if you stay on the field long enough with possession of the ball, their offense can't hurt you. So going with the Trevor Harris strength of the find the open man, don't force a play, that should allow for longer, consistent drives. Speaking of consistent, the Argos offense has become much more balanced as you're seeing Brandon Whitaker getting the ball more coming out of the backfield, both in running and the short passing games. Whitaker, of course, most recently played for the Alouettes, so he may be going in with a chip on his shoulder and wanting to prove that he's not done yet. And anybody that's been watching the Argos this year knows he's not done yet. So this is going to be a lot of fun to watch. Another great game. And hey, you got the day off anyways. On offense, I'm going to be keeping an eye on Brandon Whitaker. As said in the previous chapter, this is his first game against his former team, the Alouettes, and he's got something to prove in front of his former home fans. And he's been contributing in so many big ways for the Argonauts in terms of running the ball effectively, running with some power, finding those holes, He's been very, very effective in the pass game, short passes, screens, swing passes, and really good at picking up the block when he stays in for pass protection. He's kept Trevor Harris upright on more than one occasion. So he's been a valuable cog in that Argos offensive machine, and I'm expecting a big game from him today. On defense, I'm looking to A.J. Jefferson, number 24, a defensive back. Again, I'm assuming he's going to be the one that's going to try to keep an eye on S.J. Green. No small feat. So it would be a very interesting battle to see this week. So on offense, looking for number 3, Brandon Whitaker. Defense, number 24, A.J. Jefferson. This week's trash tag, it's Thanksgiving, so we're going to give some thanks. This week's going to be CFL thanks. So just mention what you're thankful for in terms of the CFL. So, whether it be, I'm looking for things like no fair catch rule, and CFL cheerleaders, and getting to see games at your own home stadium. Yeah. So, tweet us at argosendzone.com using the hashtag CFL thanks. We'll see who's got the best one this week. For this week's prediction, the math says it's going to be a very close game, with the average being about 25 points per team. Now, the way the Argos been rolling, and again, Montreal's kind of streaky. I'm hoping this is going to be a bad week for Montreal, obviously. So I'm thinking it's going to be a big one. So I'm looking at the Argos, 32-21, coming out on top here in Montreal. Good. All right, and back up. Thanks, boys. So let's check back at the end of the game and see how close I got. That'll wrap things up for another week. Hope you had some fun. Feel free to comment down below, like, share, do whatever you want with this video. And make sure you're following us on all our social media feeds, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. We're always branching out, trying to find new ways to bring Argos End Zone goodness to all of you out there through social media. And speaking of social media, make sure you're following the Argonauts cheerleaders and pick up their calendar, because the money raised there helps the ladies get to Winnipeg in the Grey Cup, which the Argos, hey, could be playing in, so it could be a win-win to go out there and see them both. And it's a 1 o'clock kickoff, get in front of TV at TSN. It's going to be work out really well, right? Because you'll get to watch the game, then go stuff your face, and then help comatose on the couch there. It's perfect timing. It's going to be fun. And, it's Thanksgiving. I'm giving thanks for you tuning in again this week. And until next week, this is Jude, Section 122, ArgosEndzone.com. Remind me that we ride the rail and we ride it.